Hiatus by 7:30 Lectures is brought to you by oneself.com and the John Gokongwei School of Management, Sanggunian. Hey guys, welcome to Hiatus by 7:30 Lectures, a series on entrepreneurship. Today's day one and it's our first talk, and today we have none other than Mr. Migi Dabatos, the founder of Vroomai Siomai from Ormoc City. So hi Miggy, welcome to Hiatus. Thank you for giving a talk
What's
with
up,
us.
man?
So
Yeah.
guys, we are really honored to have him here today. He's going to be talking about student entrepreneurship 101. So if you are a student and you want to be an entrepreneur, you got the guy. So without further ado, let us start. Mr. Migi Dabatos, how are you doing now?
I'm doing great, Eo. Doing fine. How about
Solid,
you,
dude.
man?
Solid. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm really happy you're
Nice,
here.
nice.
Super nice to have you here. Honestly, the last time I saw you was like, March pa, and it's kind of
It was
sucks,
so long.
so
Yeah,
long
so
na, yeah, so long.
long.
But at least we're able to like communicate with technology and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Biggie, I wanna just ask you one question, like for
Go
you,
ahead, man.
what what makes an entrepreneur?
What makes an entrepreneur? Wow. Um, First
Yeah.
off, I could answer that question by the books if you want.
Yeah.
If I go by the books, I'd say you need to have the entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial guts, and the entrepreneurial heart. That's coming
Sounds
from
familiar,
from
huh?
one of our professors, Sir Inko, under our leadership and
Shout
strategies
out, sir.
class. Yeah.
Shout out, Sir Inko. Last
One
50.
of the best profs. Yes, sir. And he really implied that with me, and like it really stuck with me how I have to have the mindset to be optimistic at all times, to always have the guts so that I could trust my instincts on the right and wrongs, and also to have the heart so that I could know which benefits who and what happens if I choose this decision. It really leads up to that. But then more on, like, if you really want me to give a definition of what a entrepreneur is, then for me being an entrepreneur doesn't just mean with if you are the richest person in the whole world. It doesn't mean if you're the richest businessman, the best one out there. But for me, it's the one businessman who can actually try and make a change with society. The one who could add a twist into whatever they want to put in, whether it would be from one aspect to another. Someone who could really give a benefit and could change the world.
Yo, man, that was a very good and insightful, description of what an entrepreneur is. For you personally, like, where do you see yourself in those criterions? Like, what do you have? What do you wish you had more of?
Ah, well, I could still say that I'm still in a learning stage on how to become one. I can't really say I am one, but I really want to say I just want to stay down, stay grounded, and say I'm still learning. Because, learning is a never ending process. But
Yeah,
then,
that's true.
if I were to be frank, maybe I could say I think I have the guts to be an entrepreneur because I really want to take the risks. I really
I
want to
know.
put one step forward. But then at the same time, I still just want to say I'm still learning. There's a lot of things to learn, man. We're still young. I'm still 20 years old, and there's a lot of things to go.
That's good, man. And honestly, like, I really look up to you for, not just wanting to become an entrepreneur, but actually doing it. You feel execution, man. It's just as important as dreaming. And speaking of execution, let's talk
Yeah.
about Vroomai Siomai, your business,
Oh, go
the
ahead.
business that you
Go
started during the
ahead.
quarantine. So Vroomai Siomai, is a business in Ormoc City. You sell
Mm-hmm.
siomai. How did you guys start? Like, in terms of like ideation, research,
Mm-hmm.
etc. Like, how did it come
Oh,
about?
well, actually, it just started with when me and my dad, we were just talking. Like, there were just nights we
Yeah.
just talk about business. And then that was a time wherein class ended, and then I didn't have anything else productive to do. And then it popped up. Like, my dad was like, Miggy, I don't want to try and sell shawmai. And I was like, oh, yeah, no. Like, I love shawmai. Like, it's like one of the best things in the world for me. So I
Yes.
was like, yeah, I think we should go and try. And then, like, the thing is, I just didn't know how to make shawmai. So the day after, we looked for someone who could teach me how to make shawmai, and then we found this one guy who was like a really close friend of ours, and he became really patient with me. He became really considerate with me whenever I had mistakes, and he was there with me day and night. And then him and my dad were like mentors to me throughout the starting of Vroomai Siomai. Then the whole Vroomai Siomai concept came in as like supposedly as a personal project for me, because I wanted to see how far I could go, because it's not just from how I learned from my studies, from what the books and the teachers taught me, but I really wanted to see how how far I would go if ever I take what I've learned from school, and how far I would go with how I would apply it to the real world. Because I don't want to be stuck with the four walls that kept me in. But then if I wanted to learn truly, I would really want to try and apply what I've learned in my first year in Ateneo and put it right into whatever business I would try to take. So that's why for me it was another way of me to say na I have to start a business to see how far I could go. And that's what pushed me to put up Vroomai Siomai until how it ended. And it lasted for 2.5 months. But then for the 2.5 months, I could just say I am more than proud of myself. And I am very happy with all the obstacles that I have encountered and the people who I've helped. But then later on, like, it's just another learning experience. And sooner or later, I hope I'd be able to start it up again. And or if ever another venture naman.
All right, that's very nice. I'm really glad you know opened up about that. And so
Yeah.
let's get into the sort of nitty gritties of your business.
Ooh.
Um,
All right, let's go.
you Yeah, man. So I think one of the most important things we need to consider in terms of starting a business would be financing it. So a
Mhm.
little technical aspect here. So we're gonna be talking about financing your business. How did you finance it? What factors did you consider in doing your financing?
Mm.
And what advice do you have for people that are, demotivated from starting a business due to having small capital or the risk of
Uh-huh.
losing money?
So firstly, I just want to say that I really got support from my parents. That's one thing, because I was really able to make the produce at home, do a lot of it at home. So there goes the whole rent a space type of capital. But then later on, um, we have to talk about the finance, right? So I just like to take a few months back, because a few months back I told myself that I should stop spending freely and then I should start saving up money, because I should save up money not just for emergency purpose, which are like purposes which are for medical issues, for accidents, but then I save up for the purpose of opening up a business soon. And I realized that it was a really huge benefit on my part, because I was actually able to take up a portion of my savings and add it into the business that I want with Vroomai Siomai that I had to start. And then it's just a very small capital actually. I didn't really need that much, because I knew where to get the raw materials from. I knew where to get them cheap, and I knew how to make them a lot, make them to multiply them. So that was one part that was pretty easy for me, because how I see looking for capital is another way of like you could just borrow money from your parents, you could take a portion from your savings, open up an account from your suppliers and befriend your suppliers, open up to your friends and how they could support you. So that's how I tackled the finance aspect, because my capital was really small at start because of the amount of help that I was able to get. But at the same time, the amount of initial capital that I had really multiplied later on. And that's really a part of the entrepreneurship goal. Because for me,
Yes.
money isn't the only factor that you should encounter, you should consider in entrepreneurship. I think the growth of the business and the growth of you as an individual together as your with your employees is a much more important part in entrepreneurship, because money will always come right after. Money will always come right after. But who you are and what you portray is very important, because you're not only benefiting for yourself, because open up a business requires you to have people, requires you to talk to other people. And whenever you have a business, you are always encountering and considering the feelings, the emotions, and how you negotiate with other people. And that's the most important part. So for me, finance wasn't really a problem because I knew how to start it up with a very small capital, and I was able to multiply it. But then later on, it was the network that I was able to encounter that was much more important.
I really love how you emphasize that money isn't everything in business, and
Yeah.
it's really about building your
Definitely.
brand, your network, your product, delivering quality products, and money just comes second. So
Yeah, it
guys,
does.
student entrepreneurs, whether past, present, or future, listen to Migi's advice. It's really valuable. So thanks for that. Now let's talk about your operations. So how did you guys
Mhm.
operate? Now you mentioned you had a lot
Mhm.
of like employees. How many employees did you hire?
Mhm. Well, I had three employees
Three.
for the total span of Vroomai Siomai. And then it was the first time actually for me to have proper employees where I had to give out salary and stuff because in my previous years or previous times that I was tackling with business, I had businesses. It was usually just like I buy something and I sell something, so everything came from me. But then when I started Vroomai Siomai, it was starting with only me also. Like I started manufacturing it. I started I had to do the whole cooking part, I had to do the whole packaging part, and I had to do the whole delivery part. But then as I was going through Vroomai Siomai, it was pretty hard for me to do the whole thing because at the same time it was also the first time for me to put up one business that would go on full time. Like from 9 o'clock to from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. That was the only time that I was open. So I used to have like I should be there from 9 to 8. I was just me lang. So that was like a huge problem on my part. So I realized that I need to have employees. Um, it was a great thing lang that my parents really supported me, and they said we'll give you one employee to help you. But then it was me and him lang, and later on we were going well, we had great chemistry. But then later on we still needed to expand because of the fast expansion, even though it's just like 1 month after we opened, we already needed to get another delivery guy, and we needed another guy who would help us with production and who could also take in orders. Because what happens in our operations, kasi, um, if this is your customer and he would give an order, um, it's very simple. So one guy would take in the order from the customer, and then it would be passed on to our production area so that they could get the order ready. And after that, it would be passed on to our delivery guy where he could get the products and deliver it to the customer. And then right after he delivers it to the customer, he has to report it back to the first guy who took in the order, just so that transparency can
Accountability.
always be observed and accountability. Yeah.
Yo, so like I love how you're able to talk about how simple yet comprehensive your operations are. And just a question lang, you this was
Go
all
ahead.
happening through the ordering scheme of messages, right? Like Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
So all the orders were happening
Yeah.
through there. And that I guess brings
Yeah.
me to how you were able to market Vroomai Siomai all online, right?
Yeah, it's just a small online store, man. All
Oh,
online.
solid. So like you were so with this online setup, with the coronavirus
Mhm.
pandemic keeping us at home, there is a
Mhm.
prominence of, online platforms that are used for marketing, operations, etc. for
Yeah.
to reach your customer as a business.
Mhm.
So how was your
Mhm.
marketing? Like how would you gauge your marketing? How are you able to market your product? Where did you find inspiration for this? And in what ways
Mhm.
did you succeed and could have done better in marketing?
Oh. Well, the marketing part was the most fun part for me. I really enjoyed marketing my product. And I really enjoy it because I was given the chance to witness the JSEC challenge in Ateneo.
Oh yes.
Wherein,
Yes.
right? You remember JSEC? JSEC's great, and then wherein people would try to market their brands, would try to get ambassadors, would try to
Yeah.
shout during in the red brick road just to get the customer's attention.
Yes.
And then I really enjoyed my experience in the JSEC challenge. Just that was something I've never seen before. So I saw that I have this one friend who started up a JSEC stall for the JSEC challenge. It was Beef on Board. And then he was also
AD
in charge of
Santos,
marketing.
shout
So
out.
yeah, 80 Santos. Yeah, shout out to that guy.
You're watching this,
Yeah, he really
AD.
helped
We
me.
love you. We love you, bro. We love you.
And then I looked up to him in a way because he took up a lot of ambassadors, and then he really marketed in a really great way. It was really clean. He didn't try to push his way into the market. He really tried to pull his way in, and then that's what I really like. And what I really looked forward to with the JSEC challenge is how he got the ambassadors and how the other stalls got their ambassadors. So when I started Vroomai Siomai, I copied the whole JSEC thing, like how they started, like, oh, let's get ambassadors, volunteer, wants to join our photo shoots. So with that, I was able to get content for me to upload on social media. So when I got the ambassadors, they were really down with the photo shoot, and I got the content I needed. So that lasted for like 2 weeks of worth of content, so that I could keep on posting online. And then they were really supporting me in a way that they kept sharing my posts. And then during the start, they were very supportive with me. And then later on, I had a hurdle wherein I can't post these photos anymore because they're just redundant. So what I did, I went I looked into a photographer, and then there's this one photographer, and he said, "Hi, I'm willing to give photo shoots to online resellers right now because in his way he wanted to help." So I contacted him, and he went to my house, and we had this whole photo shoot with Vroomai Siomai. He really worked his way out, and it was really great. It was really great. So when he got to send his content to me, I used his content because they were great pictures. I used his content and included that in Facebook ads. And then I just love how Facebook ads allows you to create a more direct way of targeting your audience, because during the first
Yes,
phase of my Facebook
geofencing.
ads, yeah, geofencing, that's a really important part in marketing. And then I was able to look at the first week of my Facebook ads and who were the ones who got targeted, who were the ones who interacted with me the most. Most of them were like female from 24 to 30 years old. So I really targeted them. And then it allowed me to continue with my Facebook ads and allowed me to find more resellers, more people who wanted to buy my Xiaomai. And that was a really, really great tool for me to use when I was selling online. But then later on, if I were to look back with my whole marketing scheme, I could say I could say I did pretty well. And then if there was something I would have changed, I think it would be like I should have done more. You feel like doing more would have been making everything better. But then so far, I was proud of how it worked out.
You know what, man?
Yeah.
Honestly, I really look up to how you really took advantage of technology in this space, especially since now we're all in our homes, disconnected from each other physically. It is all the more
Yeah.
important for us to connect with each other online with
Yeah.
technology. And you utilize technology with, your Facebook ads, you utilize technology with
Yeah.
Facebook, knowing how to use like, ambassadors and all that stuff. And it's great how you are actually
Yeah.
able to learn from the JSAC challenge and from your stay in Ateneo. That just goes to show
Yeah.
how education isn't, just about, the four corners of the classroom. It's really about,
Yeah.
learning from everyone around you, from extracurricular
True.
activities, org work, JSAC
Mm.
challenges, and from your friends like
Yeah.
AD. Shout out
Yeah.
again to AD.
Yeah.
Pogi mo. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was very good, man. I'm really happy that you're able to, market through my show my well and learn from
Yeah.
this experience. So I'd like to ask you. This is we're nearing the end of your interview.
Oh yeah.
So I want to just ask you for an overall synthesis of Vroomai
Mhm.
Siomai. Where did you succeed in? Where do you wish you could have done better in? And in what ways did Vroomai Siomai sort of change your character and allow you to like
Mhm.
find yourself?
Mhm. Um, Vroomai Siomai was a great learning experience for me. It was really the first time where I was able to handle a full-time business. Like from starting from, as I said, like starting from 9 o'clock in the morning to closing to 8 p.m. the evening, always being available to serve the customers, always being there to give feedback, to guide my employees in whatever they need, whenever they need help. And the thing is, it was a huge hurdle for me because as a student entrepreneur, I think there's like really two different words, and it's pretty hard to mix them up
Contradictory.
together because yeah, like you have two different goals, and like it was really hard for me, most especially
Too
during the
little
final
time.
season. It was pretty,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a huge hurdle. It's a huge hurdle. So the thing with me lang, like I during that time with Vroomai Siomai, I really focused more on the business side rather on the studying side because I was like, oh, this is real life. I gotta do this more. But then later on, you get to understand that you really have to balance both aspects in your life because these two things are leading you to a specific goal in the end, and both of them are actually aligned well with each other. So for me, being a student entrepreneur is very important for you to balance both aspects because in your studies you really have to understand that each lesson is given, and you should understand that you need to get that high quality education that you deserve because learning is a never ending process, and it doesn't matter if it's like just for if you have to listen to one professor, but then you're always there to understand that you should be learning by yourself also. If you want to dig deeper on a certain topic, then go for it. Then don't look for other then like don't wait for other people to tell you to, because learning is always there. And also in the entrepreneurial side, you have to listen to everyone because listening is a very important aspect in business because people tries to tell you what they would want to suggest. People will try to give you pieces of advice, and you just have to listen. And then once you understand how the listening aspect is as important as the learning aspect, you get to mix both of them together, and you get to apply what you've understood from both corners and apply them into what is the biggest goal in your life. Then I think that's when you realize how important being a student entrepreneur is because you are handling two different goals and mixing them into one goal. And that's how this learning experience for every student entrepreneur is really benefiting every student entrepreneur.
Yo, man, I'm really inspired by your journey in, trying to manage these super contradictory roles, student and entrepreneur, but nonetheless, you pulled it off. You were able to run for 2.5 months, and I'm really proud of
Yeah,
what you've been able to
yeah.
accomplish. And I hope that you continue this in the future. I hope that
I hope so too.
continue to get into business ventures in general. Because honestly,
Yeah,
man, like experience is really the best teacher. Like, not
it
gonna
is,
lie,
it
it's
is, it is.
really just the
Yeah,
best
it
teacher.
is. Coming
And
from
honestly,
internships to small scale businesses, that like
yes,
it's really important. Like these
those are
learning
really fun.
experiences really
And I
gives like a
really
mark on your life.
and I really chose you for this series, honestly, because you have experience. Like, aside from Vroomai, even before, you worked for your parents, you had your past ventures in high school, whether small or
Yeah,
big,
yeah,
all of those
yeah.
contributed to a character that I saw
Mhm.
to be fit for the job. So, congratulations, Miggy, on being part of
Thanks, dude.
Hiatus by 7:30 Lectures. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
too.
for
Thank you.
joining us here. And thank you guys for listening to Miggy. Hope you learned a lot. So yeah, enjoy the rest of Hiatus by 7:30 Lectures.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to our Facebook page.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys.